Washington, D.C. may seem like a faraway city, one you only hear about or see on the nightly news. But right now, you have the opportunity to win an all-expense paid trip to the nation's capital. So sit back, pay attention, and come on the youth tour. For more than 25 years, the Electric Cooperatives of Texas have been sending Lone Star State teenagers to Washington, D.C. on the Government in Action Youth Tour. For many, it was truly the experience of a lifetime. Take a look and listen during the next few minutes and experience the sights and sounds of Washington, D.C. Come on the youth tour.
When they told us we were going to ride a bus for 3 solid days, I thought we were going to go stir crazy. I couldn't imagine being trapped on a bus that long. It'd be crowded, be hot, but it wasn't like that at all. We've had a lot of fun, and we played travel games and wonder games and cards. I mean, I've already had a really great time on this trip, and we haven't even gotten to Washington.
Riding on Skyline Drive through Shenandoah Valley was almost more than I can describe. Seeing those huge buses rolling on the tiny mountain road was scary at first, but for a Texas girl from the flatlands, it was a grand experience.
Behind me is the Washington Monument, the tallest structure in our nation's capital. It stands over 555 feet tall, and it was built to honor our nation's first president. From the top of the monument, you can see the entire city of Washington, D.C. From one side, you can see the Jefferson Memorial, and then from another view, you can see the Lincoln Memorial, and then you can see the White House.
This is the castle, the first building of the Smithsonian Institution located on the mall. Originally a gift from John Smithson to the people of the United States, the Smithsonian Institution now has several museums on the mall, as well as other parts of Washington, D.C.
This is one of the newer museums on the mall. It is called the National Air and Space Museum. Inside here are things like the Wright Flyer, which was the first airplane ever to fly. Also, the Spirit of St. Louis, which Charles Lindbergh flew solo across the Atlantic in 1927. There are also Apollo mooncraft, some Gemini space capsules, several rockets, and every other kind of flying contraption you can imagine. The neat thing is that these are not models or mock-ups. These are the actual flying craft.
The Capitol building is a place where the United States Congress meets. Here, they introduce legislation, debate it, and either reject it or pass it into law.
Standing on the steps of the Capitol made me feel important. I had seen this place so many times before on the news, and now I was standing exactly where so many great men had stood before. Having our pictures taken while we were there made us feel like celebrities.
One of the highlights of the youth tour trip was a visit with our congressman. He took time out of his busy day to meet with us. He told us that he had once been president of a cooperative, and so we talked a lot about cooperatives and about agriculture and other things that are really important to the economy of Texas.
Of course, rural electrification is still extremely important to all of America. It's been a great program. It is a great program. It contributes to an agricultural and an energy business, and rural electrification plays a significant part of that, because without electricity, where would we be? And that's in town or in the country.
The Library of Congress is one of the most beautiful and ornate buildings in Washington, D.C. The main reading room is huge and stately with gold inlaid into the ceiling. This building houses millions of volumes of books and is truly an American treasure.
The Supreme Court building is home to the highest court in the land. This is where the 9 judges that make up the court hear cases that affect our lives every day. Just the size of the building is impressive beyond belief.
The Sunset Parade at Iwo Jima was my favorite part of the whole trip. It just amazed me how the military band and how the soldiers were so disciplined and organized. And the music was just beautiful. It gave me this feeling of pride for my country.
The National Archives is the building where the original Declaration of Independence and Constitution of the United States are housed. Just looking at those documents sent chills up and down my spine. For the first time in my life, I truly appreciated the rights and freedoms we have in our country.
This is the place it can truly be said, the buck starts here, because this is where the money you and I use each day is printed. It's hard to walk through these halls and see millions of dollars being cut, printed, and inspected and not be able to reach out and touch it. They don't give samples, but you can buy souvenirs.
The Washington Cathedral was an idea first conceived by George Washington. His thought was to have a great church for national purposes. The stained glass windows are beautiful and depict Bible stories. The altars contained carvings that are ornate and detailed.
On Rural Youth Day, we attended the Energy Battle. It's set up like a college bowl where they ask two teams questions.
True or false? Always operate several large appliances at the same time on the same circuit. True or false? False. Absolutely right.
The educational seminars we attended taught us valuable principles about how cooperatives work. The YCB performed entertaining skits that explained how the national, state, and local cooperatives work together to deliver electricity to millions of rural Americans.
After all the touring and all the education, we got to go to a great big fun dance. We danced so much that my feet were killing me the next day.
When we visited Arlington National Cemetery, we heard a 21 cannon salute. It gave me great pride in knowing that these men and women died for my freedom and everyone else's freedom. It was unbelievable, the rows and the rows of tombstones. And no matter which way you looked, they were straight, and it signified the men standing in formation.
I helped lay the wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier, and I was walking down the steps, and it just all hits you that these people have, given the ultimate sacrifice, their lives for your freedom. And when your everyday life, when you're just out on the streets or something, you don't realize that these people gave you this freedom, and many people take that for granted, that these people have done that for you. You don't cry really, but it tears you up inside, and it's a feeling that you can't see through pictures or cards or people's explanations. It's just something you have to feel.
The Vietnam War Memorial was really special to me because my dad was in Vietnam. It was a really emotional experience. At several different places, people broke down and cried, and we kind of leaned on each other, but it really puts into perspective what's important. And a lot of the names were people our age, 18, 19, and 20, and their lives were over. And it makes us realize that ours have just begun.
Mount Vernon was the home of George Washington, the first President of the United States, and many times referred to as the father of our country.
This stately mansion has been restored to its original condition. It was like being in a time warp, looking at the dining room and seeing the bed where President Washington actually slept.
Visiting Mount Vernon made me feel my history book had come to life.
Remember,
you could be here next June.
The Lincoln Memorial is one of the most recognizable buildings in Washington, D.C. Just seeing that great man sitting in his huge chair impressed me. I'm thankful that he led the fight to preserve the Union of the States.
We visited the Jefferson Memorial just as the sun was setting. The sky was pink and the memorial was beautiful. At the top of the steps, we saw the huge statue which represented Jefferson. I couldn't help to think about the man who had wrote the Declaration of Independence.
Last night we were in Washington. We went to a fantastic production by the Army called The Spirit of America. The patriotism of the event really made you proud to be an American. I think it was one of the major points of my trip to Washington.
One of the things that is really interesting is how you can bring 4 girls together in the same room and have them live for at least 12 days without killing themselves and their friends. There's stuff all over the room, and you just have to make room for yourself and your things.
I have closer friends on this trip than I've ever had in my life, and I'm sure that we're going to keep in touch. These are the people that I'm going to remember 20 years down the road. I'm going to remember the things they said, the things they did, and the experience that we shared together in Washington, D.C.
Lookout Mountain, Tennessee is where Youth Tour holds its final devotional. To get there, we rode a cable car a mile up the mountainside. On top, you have a feeling of being close to God. It's almost like you could reach out and scoop up the clouds. It's also a special time because the trip is coming to a close, and we know that soon we'll have to say goodbye to all our new friends.
The amazing thing about the youth tour wasn't the monuments or the places, it was the people and the feeling you get together. You get a togetherness feeling and you also get a patriotic feeling, which it just all encompasses you at once. There isn't one particular place that is amazing, it's everything.
I made lots of special friends on this trip. Different kind of friends. I've known these people less than 2 weeks, and yet I'm closer to them than people I've spent 13 years of school with. You know them more deeply because you see so many special things with them and you share so many special moments that you wouldn't share with people normally.
The incredible experience it held for me, the joy of just being with these other people and seeing our nation, it really made me feel good about this nation. It really made me become a part of the history that I learned in high school. It made me become an active participant in this U.S. government.